Oh yeah! Woo! Are you pumped, Liam?
I am.
You
I'm pumped.
pumped?
I love that
Oh,
intro.
oh yeah! Got to pump in the metal. You know why? Because this is Skyline trilogy, son. All right, this ain't some boring, some. It's a family picture. Bring
No.
Timmy, bring Jimmy. Let's watch some fucking Frozen. No, this is Skyline. We're extreme here, son. That's right. Brain ripping, spine ripping out, explosions, gunfire, martial arts, gore, fun, excitement. That's why we're here today, baby. That's right. Woo!
I
So I
love
was
it.
like, you know what? Got to pick the right music, set the
Yeah.
tone, set the scene here.
I like I
Liam,
like the I like the edit too. It was nice. It was
yeah.
good work. Good
Well,
work. You
thank
got
you.
me pumped.
I have my moments. Liam O'Donnell in the house. That's right, hanging out with
That's
us
right.
today in the movie dojo. That's right, hanging out with. It is an honor, my friend. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with the old knucklehead over here, Samurai Guy, and talk movies. But I was like, I gotta contact this guy. I just got done watching Skylines. I got to talk about it, but we can't go into spoilers. We could do a little spoilers here and there when we get to the plot synopsises, if you don't mind. But
No.
I want chat. I want the Movie Dojo Army that's watching us right now. I want them to check out Skylines, and if they haven't seen the first two, binge it. It's time for a marathon, baby. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. But yeah, it is great to have you here. Let's see who's here. Who is here so far? They got the Movie Dojo Army slowly trickling in right now, watching us right now.
Okay.
We got the sexy sumo. That's right. Says let's start a beautiful ruckus. That's right. All right. We got Boom Rock in the house. Michael Gonzalez, Gilbert Berger. I love food. It's one of my favorite names. Kevin Burgeon. That's right. Phat. That's right. Oh, Phat says here, he says, I love the Skyline film series. All right. I remember watching it in the theater, seeing that ending, and being psyched at the direction the movie/series was going to take with the alien-human hybrid. All right. You got some fans here.
Phat is like 1 in 10 people because 90% of the people were like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" But Phat, you're my people. You're my people. Yeah,
that's right.
We
Me too.
We started just zeroing in on the niche.
Yes.
And saying let's feed the people that like what we're doing. So,
yeah, I'm your people too. I'm your people.
Good.
Boom Rock says, greetings, Liam. I saw you at the Beyond Skyline release in Hollywood 3 years ago. All right, that's awesome.
Oh wow! Oh yeah,
Right.
at our one little theater at the AMC, which was a great time.
Awesome. Got Brian Trash here, Dan, Mike Swift. All right. So they're slowly trickling in. We got enough badasses here to get it cracking and get it going.
Awesome.
Liam, before we get into your works in the past, and we'll definitely get into the trilogy, we're going to do our best to stay away from spoilers. Like I said, I want the Movie Dojo Army to check it out, but we have to spoil a few things to make sure you guys will understand how the series progresses. So there'll be a few things that we'll talk about. But Liam, how did you get your start? Like, what were some of the motivations? Some of the films out there, actors, directors, what motivated you to become a filmmaker?
I think it's the poster over your shoulder there. Predator is the one
Yes!
that was kind of
That's
like,
it.
Yeah,
You're
it
now
was
you're my favorite director of all time now because you said that. Yes. Woo!
it's I've definitely kind of told this story before, but it was like I was obsessed with Schwarzenegger. My parents had like a strict no R-rated movies rule for me at I think I was like 9 years old, and
Me
so
too.
I had a friend who I knew like had it, and his parents didn't give a shit, and they had all the movies there, and I kind of was like, I put in like a long con to get a sleepover at his house.
Yeah.
And I was like, can we watch Predator? And he's like, yeah, I've already seen it. Do you want to watch like, Jason 5? And it was like, no, I just came here for this. And so, yeah, that was sort of like a life-changing thing where that movie, like, it still has different parts of my imagination because I saw it so young.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, like Billy had a big fight with the Predator on that tree trunk because my mind filled it in,
Yeah.
So it has this sort of mythic place in my head that you could probably tell from, especially from Beyond and Skylines of just, even the creature designs. I was like, one of the inspirations in going to the practical was obviously Predator and in having, I think Predator's a really unique design that it can be kind of a villain and a hero and that's what we wanted for the pilots. So that's kind of where I was like, there's something, if we change the physicality to them and you change their eyes, they're scary and you don't want to mess with them. But if you look at them in a different light, you're like, yeah, that guy's pretty badass. I'd love that, have that action figure on my desk. So it's kind of this, a different place than say something like, Giger's Alien, where you're like, yeah, get that bug away from me. I don't want it. Although you do want it on your desk. It's not, it's not quite heroic. It's more of a nightmare. So, yeah, I'd say Predator is like, is one of those touchstone ground zero films. But then luckily for me, I came out to LA with a good friend of mine who is a graphic designer, a visual effects guy. And I was just a writer. But because we were best friends and we kind of crashed on couches and lived in this really cheap Hollywood apartment, when he would meet people with his visual design and his VFX, I would come along and I would pitch people ideas. So it helped kind of being like in this land doing like treatments for music videos and commercials where he would, we'd talk about the ideas. He would do the designs and I would write up the pitches, and we would do those for directors for, small production companies and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And so then the first thing we nailed was like, it was like a Fresca commercial. And then it was like a Gatorade commercial was a big deal. Yeah. Got some music videos, and it was all started working with Greg and Colin Strauss, who owned Hydraulics. My friends started doing the visual effects there. I started kind of pitching the movie ideas. We started writing a movie together, and then Alien versus Predator 2 like came across their desk within 6 months of working there. And it was like, okay, like we're just going to do everything we can to get this movie, to get to work on this thing. And so we all just like pulled all-nighters for like months straight to get the concepts and the pitches, as on point as possible. And it was one of those things where the meetings kept getting pushed. So we kept kind of getting better. And the guys came in and they killed it. And then, so I came out to LA, I'd say at the end of 2004 and summer of 2006, I'm flying up to Vancouver to work on AVP2.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. But you gotta get in there and gotta get your feet wet. Get your feet dirty, get in there, and then work your way up.
It's been like 15 years later. It's still the biggest movie that I worked on. So when I look back, I'm like, it was such a great learning experience to be like, this is like a $40 million studio movie, and the things that were awesome on it, like they got to redesign the Predator, that Wolf Predator. It was all a completely new build. They kind of threw out the suits from the first AVP that were a little bit more like jacked muscle men, and so they worked with ADI and designed this new one from scratch. And I got to see him walking on set for the first time, and all the stuff with the creatures was a ton of fun. The rest of the movie was not as much fun. I remember being like on location at like a diner in outside of Vancouver, and some guy walks by and he goes, "What movie are you guys shooting?" And we're like, "AVP2." He goes, "What the fuck are you doing in a diner?" And we're like, "Oh, I don't know."
That's what I was gonna say. Is that it's not your fault. That's what I was gonna say.
That movie was nobody made with that script, no matter what we did to it, because they were like, they made the decision. This movie can, if we make it at this, we'll make this much profit, and if we shoot it in a small town, that's the cheapest way to do it, basically. So they were married to that concept before we ever got involved. And it was just us trying to protect as much as we could the integrity of the creatures. And like there was crazy shit on that movie. They were like, "Can we change the color of the Predator's blood?" And we're like, "Why?
Why?
Like,
what are you doing?"
They said the green is so 80s. And I was like, like, what?
Did you kill them and bury the bodies in the back?
No, I was always like getting this stuff through telephone because I'm like the 24-year-old, like basically, consultant who's like working in their trailer with the previous artist and like trying to make the action scenes cooler. Because it's like any of those movies that the prep is never long enough, and the studio notes would be like changing the set pieces right before we'd shoot them, before the sets were finished. So you never have as much as I think the audience thinks that everybody has the time to like rehearse and think it through, and then they're like this is the best
Right.
idea. It's never ever that in my experience. It's
Right.
you know, especially now in these indie movies that I'm making, it's always like the paint is drying on the set.
Yeah.
You know, the actor is just finishing, like just getting half of the moves on the day. It is
Right.
so much less prep time due to the, you know, kind of the collapsing budgets of shoot schedules that it's like,
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah.
kind of learning it right on the moment. And so it's just kind of amazing that anything looks like
Right.
good at all. That like
Yeah.
that shit like cuts together is amazing most of the time. Let alone like it being this incredible stuff. When you see, you know, like these huge studio movies where they're like, well, then the actor, you know, did like 3 months of rehearsals and prep and all that stuff. That takes money because you're paying that actor that money and that lead time. On an indie movie, you really don't have it. And on a movie like AVP2, let's face it, that was like a paycheck for all of the actors involved. So they're kind of like flying in the week before, you know, doing a script read, and they're like, I'm going to go hit my marks and get my check. You know,
That's
so
it. Yeah,
it's a little different than
it is what it is.
What your imagination is of how, when I get my shot, I'm going to make sure everything's perfect. Like, you can try, but there's a lot of things up against you, you know.
Gotcha. Well, everyone appreciates the work that you do, and it's not. No one complained about the alien and predator designs in the movie.
Oh no,
they only complained about. Yeah. So props.
It was there's a pretty good 10-minute cut of the movie if you just cut it around the predator story, and you're just like. And you know, you adjust some of that DI. The DI got too dark on that film, which is another kind of heartbreaking moment. Because Daniel Pearl's cinematography was incredible on set, and they went with too dark of a look, and I can adjust it on my TV now. Like, your new TVs have so much advanced contrasting stuff that you can kind of make it the way it was supposed to be, but. Yeah, there's a great like 10 to 15 minute movie in there if you just get rid of all the other stuff. I like the predator designs, alien designs, creature designs, the visuals. I really liked. I think everyone liked. It was just like the spirit. The spirit of the movie is pretty gross too. Like, it is like wait, pregnant women, like even the girlfriend just gets hung up by the big ninja star, and that was kind of like there was so much. You know, like, we were on such guardrails that within the guardrails, there's all this kind of like, well, we have to stick to the story, so we're just going to keep throwing shit at it to try to make it, pop more than it normally would. So some of that stuff is fun, but it's not exactly on my rewatch pile for sure.
Well, if the movie really needed you to write and direct the film, it would have been better.
No comment.
Again, we do appreciate your hard work on it with the visuals and stuff like that. But it looks like you have some other projects here, so it wasn't just AVP 2.
No, AVP 2 was the first,
and then it was the Bay, and then Iron Man 2. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can hit the Bay real quick. That was like around the time of Skyline, and we were working with Brian Kavanaugh Jones, who went on to create his own company, Automatic, but he was at CAA, and he was kind of bringing hydraulics, a bunch of different cool scripts and projects to get involved with as producers, you know, to have us do the visual effects for them at cost and to have, you know, producing credits. And the Bay was one that I really championed. I had just, I had my first kid at the time, and reading the script, which was, I think, a little bit more harrowing than the final film. The ending was even.
Oh, really?
More. It was more Night of the Living Dead, like intense, just like gunshot to the head, cover up. It's over.
Wow.
And then in the script, it just said like a spoiler, but it was like, it just gave a list of all the different environmental disasters that had actually happened over the past, decade. And so I was like, wow, this thing, and it's Barry Levinson, like we've got to be a part of this. So it was really just because I championed it that Brian was generous enough to give me the co-credit, and the other credit goes to, Greg and Colin and the rest of the VFX people at Hydraulics for doing great work on the movie.
Nice.
But Iron Man 2 was a really unique situation where they had this concept of these feebles, and they were like, they kind of sent out like an open assignment to a bunch of VFX shops and said like, we want to have all these crappy Iron Man suits from around the world, people trying to copy Tony's design, and different governments, homemade, you name it. We're just going to cut to a montage of different people testing it out, and they're all going to fail. And so, they said it was sort of like low stakes, just do some tests. Yeah. And us being like kind of the nerds that we were like, okay, we rented cameras. I think they might have bought Reds at that point, but we like got a bunch of friends, a bunch of wardrobe. We went out into the desert and we filmed like 4 or 5 different ones. We had like a French one where like I was one of the like a lot of pomp and circumstance, and I'm like in like a French uniform, like playing the drums and the trumpet, and it came out and it did like an elaborate dance and then just like fell over and killed everybody. And then I think it even waved the white flag at the end. It was pretty bad. But that didn't end up making it in the movie, but we're just kind of like going with straight stereotypes of like making fun of the different countries and how they would fail at it. Which was
it kind of similar? Was it kind of similar to the scene in RoboCop 2?
Yes, that was definitely the inspiration. Was the Kane trials from RoboCop 2.
It's one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah, that shot is like forever in your head. So they said like, these are hilarious. You guys did the best job. Come in and meet with everybody. And we came in and we met with John and Eric Feige and Victoria Alonso, and they everyone had a bunch of different ideas. And so then we went back and like gave them another group of ideas, and they're like, oh, that's not quite as good. And then they just said, well, why don't we just buy the footage you guys shot and we're just going to cut that in. And so that's why it ended up being kind of like just a unique situation where the stuff we shot with our friends on a weekend out in the desert ended up like, getting chopped up and used in that courtroom scene. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
But the cool thing about that, I always think about is that like, this was like only their 3rd movie. And it really was just like 5 people around a table at a Manhattan Beach studio. Yeah. And I'm like, man, they really like went on and just fucking, changed the game. And it's just like anything else, any other project you're on. It's just, getting the right team around you and the right vision. So it's definitely an inspiration to see something at the ground floor. What is it? 9 years ago, or no, sorry, 11 years ago, and now it's kind of dominating the world.
Right. That's awesome. Also, a lot of, because the Movie Dojo Army out there, they know I love horror anthology movies. I love Trick or Treat. I love the original Creepshow. I even like Creepshow 2. And they were sending me the trailers to Portals.
Yeah.
And you're part. Let's talk about that. You're a part of this too. You did one of the shorts.
Yes. So this is another unique situation where Chris White is a really cool producer. And they had shot originally like a different anthology, and they wanted to break it up into 2. And so they came to me with like 2 shorts that were really good from Timo and Eduardo Sanchez and Greg Hale from the Blair Witch Project, and nice. Timo DeJanto from The Night Comes for Us, Headshot. May the Devil Take You 1 and 2, which are both really, really good Evil Dead-esque Indonesian horror movies that you should check out if you haven't seen it. They're on Netflix. I saw the second one in Indonesia, and it didn't have subtitles, and it still was good. So I saw it in a different language, and I was like, everyone's giving me crap that I should learn another language anyway. But yeah, so those guys had these really cool shorts, and it was like, can you put one around these and kind of get it over the finish line for like no money. And it was right before Skylines happened, and I wasn't sure if Skylines was going to happen. Yeah. So like any indie filmmaker, you just kind of say yes to everything. And
Yeah.
but I was like, I shot it, and then like within after we wrapped, I was flying like 2 days later to Lithuania to do Skylines, and we'd be editing Portals on the weekend in between that. So it was definitely a hectic situation, but yeah, it ended up being, I think, like a really good project for me to get back behind camera, get back on set.
Nice.
We shot like 30 pages in 6 days, and then heading back into Skylines, it was like all the rust was knocked off, because
Nice.
you know, when you're making an indie film, it's like you're lucky to be on set every like 2 to 3 years. So any of those opportunities that you can get, you're only going to get better from doing it. So that ended up working out. And Neil Hopkins, who was in the first Skyline, I got to work with him, direct him, which was a lot of fun, because he's a really great actor. He's in Stargirl right now.
Oh, okay.
He plays Sportsmaster.
Right.
Which I like to tease him about, because means he has to stay in really good shape all the time.
Nice. But yeah, when I get a free hand, I'll definitely check Portals out. I haven't got around to it yet. But the whole concept of it's a horror anthology, but it's all science fiction themed, is pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. It was definitely a unique process, and kind of trying to weave the story together without kind of giving too much away. And it definitely just allowed each director to do something really cosmic and strange. And I think that's like depends on whether or not you're going to go with it or not, because each one is pretty much like, it's pretty experimental. But for me, I got to do some exploding heads and fun things I'd never quite done before. So I liked it.
Exploding heads are always fun.
Always fun. That's like back to Predator. It's like Bill Duke. The first, you'll never forget your first exploding head.
Yeah. Scanners. There you go.
Exactly.
Speaking of horror, I came across this as well, and it's the horror short that you're producing here. What is this?
Yeah. So that was something written and directed by my wife.
Awesome.
Pet Kanya O'Donnell, or Pet Mahathongdi O'Donnell. And so this is very personal. It's based on the Lao ghosts called the P, which are very specific and have a lot of really great creepy stories. And it's something we talked about, doing a feature of, or doing something with, since our first child was born in 2009. So we've been kind of like always thinking about it. And it was like, I think it was 2018, and I had just left hydraulics. I was working on my own for the first time, and she was like, I wanted to, create something, and it felt like the right time. So we did a little crowdfunding, and we just shot it at our house. I pulled in a bunch of favors. I got all the cameras and lenses from all my guys, and had a great DP come in Curtis and Curtis Myers. And it ended up, playing in a bunch of festivals.
It looks like it won some awards there too.
Cinepocalypse, won Best Scare.
Awesome.
And that's our friend Ova, who's a really great Lao actor in LA, or an OG Lao actor in LA. So it was all very kind of, like a personal but very creepy story. And it's something we've supposed to have written a feature script for. But, the pandemic has not been a great source of writing for me personally. We actually had our fourth child in August.
Oh, so, congratulations.
Well, thank you. Well, that's been kind of a source of joy and bringing the family together. It is not made for extra writing time. Right. So, but that's a really great short, and I think it's available online on our Facebook page.
Oh,
if
cool.
not, I probably have to put it on there. But it was again like one of those situations of, I think we did that in fall 2018, then Portals was the spring, and then Skyline's the summer. Right. And it's one of those things that's like, we spent some of our own money, but I think sometimes when you do that, like, I don't know, good things happen. Like you kickstart yourself, and you put yourself out on a limb, and then, more and more stuff started kind of coming from it. So it's probably for me to spend money on something again.
Right? So maybe in the future, maybe we'll get a full-length feature of Go to Sleep?
Yeah,
Maybe?
yeah, it's definitely
Okay.
it's something. Pet has been writing a lot more. It's like once you get kind of past the first 6 months of he's our son Trent is a little bit more self-soothing and can chill out. So yeah, we've been working on that, and there's this other kind of a little bit more horror zombie. It's not exactly a zombie, but it's this really interesting take on that genre that it's an idea that we've had from years ago that she recently dusted off, and we've started kind of playing with again. So yeah, there's always some sort of genre at play in everything that I'm kind of working on. So
it's fun.
Yeah, it's
have an open
sci-fi.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one that I have something that I've been working on lately is the closest to like a straight actioner, and hope to have that done this summer. But a lot of the times it's like you said, horror, sci-fi, action, and some combination of the three.
Yeah, you gotta love those genres though. They're classic genres. Thanks, Movie Dojo Army, for watching and hanging out with the old samurai and Liam O'Donnell. Those of you who just came trickling in, we appreciate you watching and liking the video. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Now we're getting to Skyline 2010. Yes, sir. So the brothers Strauss. Oh, let me rewind a little bit. I heard you say you named your son Trent.
Yes.
Was that from the character Trent?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite character in the series. Trent is my favorite character in the series. I want a Trent Funko Pop. Come on, Liam. Come on, Funko Pop. Trent.
1 second. I'll get you. Hold on.
Yes. Swag. Trent. Best character in the series. What do we got here? Oh, shit.
So this is just a 3D print, and he unfortunately broke his arm. Broke his arm when I was moving my office.
It's all good. Look at that. That looks awesome.
But yeah, that's my 3D printed Trent. I'd been hearing the name screamed for about 6 years at that point, and I still liked it. So I said, hey, that's a good sign, because if you got to yell at your kids' names quite a bit. And it's actually why I gave him the name to begin with, because the experience of the first movie, it was like even the name, like Elaine, it's not a great yell name, right? And so in the second movie, it was like all my testing on the three leads. It was like Mark, Trent, Andre. They're good yell names. And that's as good as it gets sometimes. And so that's where that ended up. And so my fourth one is Trent. There's a little bit of all of their names in these movies and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
We could go Skyline 2010.
Look, you got other people. You got other people right now. Come on, Skyline Funko Pops, baby. Come on, Liam. Come on, make it happen. Talk to some people. Spread the word.
I'd love it. Rose and Trent Funko Pops would be great.
Yeah,
with the little power claw.
Yeah, I would definitely buy that, and I'm sure the Movie Dojo Army would buy it as well. Skyline 2010. That's right.
Look at that.
I've come across many alien invasion lists, like people's top 10, and they have the usuals on there. Skyline's always there. Skyline's always there. There is a cult following for the series. I think there's more fans of it now. But 2010 Skyline, I remember when the trailer came out, I was like, man, this looks good. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater. I caught it later. I rented it. And don't get mad at me. I'm always honest here on the channel, okay? I'm always honest. Don't hate. Don't kill me, all right?
You heard me at the thing when I said, Phat, that most people were not ecstatic about the first movie.
Don't send Iko Uwais to kick my ass. That's all I'm saying. All right, okay. No, the thing was the ending made me really angry. Okay, but in a good way though. It wasn't like this movie fucking sucks. I hate this movie. It wasn't that kind of anger. I was angry because I was like, no, like I was like, I want to see the story progress. No, it ended like that. No, so it's a good anger. It's a good
No,
anger.
I think it's one of those situations of it just being such a short development time and edit time is
Yeah,
that like we found the movie that we wanted to make in the edit like too
yeah,
late, you know? Like
right.
there's stuff we did a reshoot on that is besides stuff from the beginning kind of setting up the characters. It was like the little scenes in the middle where like Eric Belfort, Jared character, like checks his stomach and sees that the veins are spreading and that he's getting
Right.
stronger. You know,
Yeah.
before he kind of like when he grabs David Sayas and lifts him up, that was all a
Yeah.
reshoot. Try to
Oh,
like
okay.
basically make it seem more like he was becoming this superhero. And that
Right.
superhero thing was like something we found towards the end that we liked better for the ending, and it was like, okay, we're
Nice.
going back and we're inserting it. So I think
Right.
that's a very understandable frustration because I think we had
Yeah.
the same feeling that we're like, oh, we wish we could have we had really had all that, you know, when we were filming, and so that we could have made it. I
Right.
think, you know, a shorter second act than of what's there, and then more time on the
Yeah.
ship to actually
Right.
get them, you know, get them out of the ship and set up the fact that there's like hope for the future is the more
Right.
natural ending for that movie.
Right. 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 Right.
And so, you know, that's just one of those things of like, it was a really, really short turnaround. And
Right.
even, you know, we sold it to Relativity, I think in like April, and we were thinking it was going to be like Christmas or the next year to come out because of all the visual effects. And they were like, can you do November? So it was
Right.
just
Okay.
always go, 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 go. And it was just such a huge, again, just such a huge, like, audience, you know, that they were like spending all that money on this P&A. And when they came to us and we first started talking, it was very much like the story of this movie. And what's so cool about it is how you guys made this. It's very unique. You know, they had Relativity and they had Rogue, and we fit into the Rogue brand, and they were going to, like, you know, push all that out. And once the effects started coming in, you know, that all went away, and it became like, wow, look at the size of these visual effects. This is Independence Day. And it was like, but is it, you know, it's really, really was, it really, you know, the three movies are consistent in that they are sort of midnight festival movies. That's always kind of the size of them.
That's it. Yeah, that's
you know?
it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, exactly. So that's like,
Yeah.
you know, the difference in expectation of, you know, going into a, you know, like a Midnight Madness festival and seeing this thing without any hype and being like, oh my God, they spent all that money on this crazy shit. Like, there's some crazy visuals there. And now it's a superhero origin. Okay, these guys are nuts. That would have been probably like the desired effect. Whereas, you know, when you blow it out into this is going to be, you know, Donald Faison is the next Will Smith, and we're going to fucking, you know, take on the aliens. Like, they even had us recording ADR that was like, we've got to fight back, that is never said in the movie. So when you start feeling that stuff happening, you're like, okay, you know, you guys know what you're doing, but I have a feeling that this is just going to end up blowing up in our faces. In some respects, it did. In others, you know, if they hadn't done that, there's no way there'd be 3. So I can't really, you know, criticize it on one end and then fill my cup up on the other. You know, it's like the fact that they did push it that way and went so wide with it and spent so much money in P&A back in 2000 means that there's still this global awareness for the movie, you know, 10 years later, because it sold so well, you know, overseas. And in some cases, like in Russia, it did like $10 million. It did more than like Cowboys and Aliens. It did more than like The Darkest Hour, which was set in Moscow. So like, there's certain places where it just did crazy, crazy business. And
hey, success is success.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're still going. So again, it's like, you know, it's I can Monday morning quarterback, but at the same time, if they hadn't, I wouldn't be here.
Right, copy that. But yeah, you can understand where I came from, though. Like, I was just like, oh shit, I was like,
well
oh
versed.
shit.
I'm well versed.
He's defending. I was like, he's defending his wife, his pregnant wife, against the other aliens. Holy shit! Oh no, no. But it's like, no, it's over. But this is why I really, really, really want to champion this trilogy, and I highly recommend the Movie Dojo Army and everybody who's watching to now. It's even more of the. It's a perfect time. It's even more of a best time to revisit if you haven't seen them yet, or just check them out, because when I rewatched these movies a couple of days ago, it's exciting now. When you watch that ending that used to frustrate me, now it's fucking exciting. Now it's like, here we go, and now you can go right into Beyond Skyline. So
That's awesome.
Really now
cool
it's exciting. That's the vibe I got. I was like, yes, you're actually pumped up now.
Yeah.
Because you know where you're going next. So now, if you haven't seen the Skyline trilogy,
to be honest with
check
you,
it out.
that was really like such a fucking motivation for me doing the second one.
Nice.
And that's why the second one is so like a kitchen sink, like threw everything that I had down on it, because it was just like, might not ever get another chance to do anything like this again. I'm just going to do everything that I can to try to wow and entertain. And, and so, that's exciting to hear. It definitely, I think by the fact that it ended in such a way as a standalone, if we had never made any sequels, people are going to always have that, bitter taste in their mouth. But now that it does continue on,
it's exciting.
That movie definitely gets higher ratings and a better, like you're saying, making its reputation has gone up since, which is true happening on all of them, which I think just happens over time though, because when a movie first exists, it's like everyone is like beaming it with all of these judgment calls, and they're like hyper focused on trying to put it into a box. And we always think of it as a baseline, like we're all the same age, but we're not the same age. There's 10-year-olds that saw Skyline when they were 10 who had never seen a movie where the aliens won before, because it was PG-13 and it was glossy and it looked Transformers-y enough that they all went to see that. And then they were like, this movie's weird. They'd never seen, there's no studio movie that was quite as strange as that at the time, where, it wasn't following, the exact structure and rules and payoffs. So those people really liked the first movie. And then when they'd see the second movie and they see me just going kind of a little bit more madcap, wacky. I brought the aliens' power down a few pegs because they were way too overpowered in the first movie. Those people are like, I mean, the second one ruined it. So it's definitely funny, but it's given me an interesting perspective.
Apples and oranges. Yeah, apples and oranges.
10 years where you see like, well, it's all about different people's, ages where they watch it, their perspective. An audience member like you, who's older but has seen all of the films that I'm riffing on in Beyond Skyline and Skyline specifically, that either tickles you like it tickles me, or you're one of those people that's like, oh man, it's just get an original idea, and it's like, no, it's kind of a love letter mixtape movie, and so like you're either with that or you don't. So it is like it is just very interesting, and I definitely noticed that time is kind to them, because they're just made earnestly. They're earnestly made, trying to be as fun as possible, and so that's kind of always going to be what my North Star is. And I think at the end, the people that I've gotten to know in our kind of niche fan community are all really, really sweet. And they all kind of appreciate it for that, because there is sort of a handmade.
It's fun. Are you here to see fun?
Yeah.
Are you here for fun?
It's like a family operation, handmade sort of thing. So that is kind of what why I'm proud of all three of them.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, there are fans for the trilogy, and Samuel Rodriguez is one of them right here.
Thanks for
thanks for the donation, Sam. He says, I own all three Skylines on iTunes. And we got another film director here. Director
Oh, no.
Ranjit Marwa in the house. Do you know him?
I don't. But
Okay.
how are you doing, Ranjit?
I've had him on here before. Yeah, he's working with Sonny Pang. He's got his movie Exiled coming out. So he loves Timo. That's his homie right there.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no.
yeah. So you
Sonny
guys have that in
Pang is
common.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
This is-
Sonny Pang's great.
it's good to
He's
see
awesome,
you,
and
Ranjit.
night comes for us.
We had film director bomb right now.
Hey, good,
But
good luck on the movie, Ranjit. Looks
there you go.
That's a great title, Berserker.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, he's been on here before. He's a great guy. But it was like, I got to get Liam on here too. And so far, I'm having a blast hearing all these stories and revisiting. So Skyline's been out since 2010. We could spoil it a little bit. If you want to just kind of, for those that are new, if you want to just kind of give them a brief plot synopsis, the floor is yours.
Okay, so it's about a guy named Jared and his girlfriend Elaine, and they're going to LA, and he's getting kind of wooed into moving there and working with his friend. They get really wasted, and they wake up in the morning, and blue lights come down from the city, and they suck up one of their friends. They go up onto the helipad, and they are basically witness what you see right here, a massive alien invasion, alien abduction of the city, where these lights are kind of luring everybody mesmerized out into the streets and then abducting them en masse. So it's really a genre mash between zombie movies and alien movies. These lights kind of turn people into zombies, and then you kind of have the desolate earth stuff afterwards. And for us, it was all kind of based on this location that we had, where the co-director, producer Greg Strauss' condo in Marina Del Rey had that view and had that helipad. That was all within the building that we rented.
Nice.
That whole space. I was renting a unit down on like the base floor, and I had been illegally shooting there already with my roommate, who I said earlier, the guy I moved to LA with, Matthew Santoro. So I was pretty familiar with the building and what would look cool, and it helped to really write something fast and kind of tactile, and all just based on the different environments that we had. So that came together, and it ended up becoming this crazy thing where we ended up going to Comic-Con and getting this big worldwide release, and we'll take it from there. But
nice, yeah. But yeah, I think I'm trying hard to think of other alien invasion movies. I am old, so the memory is not that great. But I'm trying hard to think of any other alien invasion movies of this scale where the light comes down, it draws people in, but it literally, once they're in range, it literally sucks them up into the ship. Hundreds of thousands of people getting sucked up at the same time. And I remember first seeing this, I was like, holy shit. And I can't really, at the top of my head, I can't think of another alien invasion movie that did that at that scale. I can't think of one.
Yeah, no, it was really taking the tractor beam from like Spielberg, like Star Trek kind of classic. You remember there's that Spielberg TV show, I think it was called Taken. And I just remember the logo was like, it was like a person in a beam going up onto a ship, but it was like a single person. It was like taking that and, blowing it out for something that worked with, visual effects on what we could do at that point,
Right.
It was that was one of those things that, like, once we had the concept art for it and the pitch, it just and the fact that we could shoot it so cheaply at Greg's condo and everything, again about saying, betting on yourself and spending some real money on something like, that shoot costs like $500,000, and everything else after that is what built it up into this big, huge movie for the size. But you could get everything kind of done in a relatively cheap way. Yeah. And it kicked off the fact that 10 years later, we're like blowing up planets is what definitely tickles me. Yeah, that tickles me. That would be the stuff I would be, not to jump over beyond Skyline, but I remember I was very skeptical that the third one would get made. And I would be writing it in the coffee shop and talking to my producer, Matthew Chouse. And I was like, I just can't see that this thing that started with like a bunch of drunk people in a high-rise penthouse is gonna like I've got Star Trek people going to an alien planet. Like this isn't gonna happen. And he'd be like,
Yeah.
just finish it, just kind of.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, your laziness is like arguing against getting things done. You're like, it's just never gonna happen, and
Right.
shut up. So yeah, well, I guess we should skip to I should go to Beyond Skyline.
Well, hold on one second. So just really quick for chat. So the light, seduces us, and we get captured. But for some reason, with Jared and his woman who's pregnant, they kind of mutate a little bit. They kind of evolve. Correct?
Yes, it was really the concept that we were going with was that it was sort of like he gained immunity, like it was almost like a venom, because he got entranced so many different times that he started to get, it started to weaken its effect, and he was able to overcome it. And I feel like as the movies evolved, that kind of changed a little bit to be that, like, there's obviously something special about him because Rose is his daughter, and special about him and Elaine. It's one of the things that I kind of like tried to make fun of a little bit at the beginning of the third one, was like, after that it gets complicated because it was never really meant to be this big, like origin story for like, it wasn't
space
like
opera. Yeah.
It's not like Darth City, or what was the Darth Plagueis like creating Anakin. Like I didn't have the Lucas story sessions. It's just me trying to figure this stuff out as I go. So there's a little bit of it where, but during the making of it, that was what we were thinking, is that was like, okay, he got abducted that first time. His friend saves him. And then Elaine should have got abducted, and he saves her, and he got a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we kind of kept teasing that he was, that the light was kind of, he was getting this immunity until there was obviously something triggered in him that he could kind of overcome it by the end. So that even when his brain was taken out, and this was one of the things that happened because it was a PG-13 movie, the original cut. Released the original Skyline cut. The brain just had like weird markings on it, like the markings on his skin. So his brain was just addled with like black veins and marks. And even though I'm pretty sure brains don't have veins, just go with it. So the brain had all these like weird markings on it when it got ripped out of his body at the end. And inserted into the other pilot, and the MPA came back to us and said, you can't show brains. Like, and we're like, well, what do you mean you can't show brains? Like, it's a huge story point. And they're like, well, just make them more sci-fi. Like, we don't want to see the like flesh colored brains with like wet spinal tissue and stuff like that.
Fun stuff. Yeah.
So we exactly. So we ended up, that's where the glowing blue and the glowing red stuff happened. It was just to basically get past the MPAA, because otherwise the story, you weren't gonna know what the hell was going on if you didn't see that his brain was different than everyone else's. So so that's one of those things that then became this question from after, where they like, why are the brains candy colored and why are they glowing? It was like it was just the only way we could get the movie finished. That's the story.
Copy that. But yeah, like I said, we it's hard to talk about these movies without spoiling it, but still check it out. And before we get to Beyond Skyline right here, Ranjit says he spoke with Yayan regarding Skyline 2. He said he absolutely loved working on the film. Look at that.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. We had him back for 3, and he was, he's just a joy to be around. I really, we got to. He's actually the person I saw Timo's movie in Indonesia with the Indonesian non-subtitles. I trusted him to buy tickets to the subtitled movie, and he brought me to a movie without subtitles. So he still owes me that, but he's a very, very sweet guy. I saw there was some question about going on Twitter about who the nicest celebrities you've ever met are, and I definitely would put Yayan and Iko in the death match of my bracket of who the nicest guys are. They're just like, especially over there, because they're very, very, very famous in Indonesia, right? and they're just so sweet and generous with their time and giving to everybody.
Nice.
So just
And
kind of
badasses.
exactly what you want them to be, which is always
Nice.
what I like to hear, you know.
Copy that. So the first movie kind of ends on a little cliffhanger, but thankfully the gods up above have blessed us with the next chapter beyond Skyline. It came out in 2017. So was there a reason why it took so long to make the
Yes.
sequel? Okay. Are you allowed to get into
Me.
that, or we can move on?
Yeah, no, we'll get into
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Well, one, I just feel like the initial, critical reaction to it was like it was dampening on the enthusiasm to make it, obviously.
Gotcha.
We had a treatment before of what Beyond basically was before Skyline came out. And the idea was obviously to blow it out in scale and to do something that was like $40 million. And in that version, Jared and Elaine were bigger characters. And the ship crashed in New York, and it was still it was more of an American version.
Gotcha.
And so it kind of sat around, and I dusted it off every now and then when we get meetings with different foreign buyers and financiers. And it was like around 2013 that the movie started playing on TV again, because we had one of the early Netflix streaming deals. And once it left Netflix in 2013, it started playing like Spike TV and Sci-Fi Channel and stuff. And when I first watched it, I hadn't watched it really in 3 years. And when I watched it again, I was just like, man, I really kill to make a sequel to this. Look at these aliens are really awesome.
Yeah.
And it's all there, and we can just do it. And this treatment is really, really badass. I can't sit around and just wait for someone to pay me to write the treatment. I'm gonna write the script.
Right.
But I went to Greg and Colin and kind of said, like, if I write the script, can I direct it? And they were already on something else, and they had another project that I was attached as a writer that was ready to go to like Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers understandably wanted a bigger writer on it. So it was a little bit of a horse trade where I was like, you guys take this one, I'll go and write this. This will be our sort of, in-house smaller sequel, whatever, I'll descale it from this New York treatment, and I want to make something more global, because the movie did so well overseas. Let's get out of the States and let's do something, unpredictable and exciting in the second half.
Gotcha.
So then I wrote that in 2013, and the first draft was way too expensive, and it didn't really kind of get into focus till the beginning of 2014. And then Matthew Chouse, who ends up becoming like my producing partner on Beyond and on Skylines, he got involved and really, kind of started working with me on it as a more kind of day-to-day. And so we ended up, like, we weren't really ready to shoot yet, but I wrote it for Frank Grillo. I was a huge fan of The Gray. I was a huge fan of End of Watch, and Warrior was really the one that I was like, that character in Warrior, if you put that character in an alien invasion movie, that's the guy I'd want to be in an alien invasion movie with. Like this, no bullshit guy who's just going to tell everybody to shut up and do exactly what he says. Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting. And so it was sort of like John McClane, in an alien invasion was what was kind of sparking in my head.
Gotcha.
And so when Frank said he, would do it and was interested and that was in his wheelhouse, that was really exciting, but it meant we had to like shoot right away at the end of 2014. So we shot like in Yogyakarta in Indonesia at the end of 2014, and we had to move around Frank's schedule. He had to do another movie in the middle, and so we ended up going on a hiatus and then finishing filming in May of 2015. So the movie was then in post for 2 years because it's 1,700 visual effects shots and it's not a big budget. So I basically we would edit and then we would wait, and Hydraulics was the visual effects company, and they also like owned the movie. And so they would kind of be like on a schedule where they'd be doing the other movies that were paying for the facility. And then when those movies go out, okay, now we can work on Beyond Skyline. And so that's why it really kind of took a long time to get finished. We finished a version of the movie at the end of 2016. I want to say October 2016. That is still pretty close to what the movie is, except for one key thing. There was no Rose Corley, Lindsay Morgan. And so we tested that version of the movie, and people liked it. And they were like, oh, we love the action. We love Frank. We love Eco. But we're really worried about this little girl. Is she going to die as soon as the credits roll? Because they really walked off into the sunset and that was it. Yeah. And I didn't want to do any teaser for a sequel whatsoever because of how badly I was burned on the first one.
Gotcha.
And so then it was like they wanted to know more about Rose. And so we went back and we did a reshoot at the beginning of 2017. And I was kind of racking my brain to figure out who could be the grown-up Rose. And I was looking at the little girl, Alana, that I had shot in Indonesia. And Lindsay kind of popped into my head. And luckily, she was available and we shot that in one day.
Nice.
And so then we finished that version of the movie. And it could have come out earlier, but Vertical was like, no, you want to do Christmas 2017. It's perfect. And I'm like, okay, let me just see what's there. It's Last Jedi. I thought they were like crazy, but I didn't really quite know what the VOD limited was. So they ended up being genius because there's nothing else really sci-fi going during that time. And everyone was, Star Wars crazy. So people rented the hell out of it and it did great on Blu-ray and DVD. And that's ended up what kind of creating the third movie.
Nice.
So that's the long story of the movie. Now we can get into the details.
No, I was always curious about it.
Yeah.
All the hard work behind the scenes, I will take back what I said about me suffering waiting that long. No,
but it's really the lesson is that you should just get over your hurt feelings and get to work on the sequel no matter what. That's really what the motivation I had in 2013. If I had just done that in 2011, then the movie would have been out in 2014. But I do think that's the lesson for any other filmmakers out there. If you have a movie that makes enough money to warrant a sequel, don't lick your wounds. Get to work.
Copy that. I love this poster. This poster is fantastic.
I love it too.
Yeah, this gets you pumped up. Here's one of the positives on this series, especially with most likely, obviously, with 2 and 3, Beyond Skylines, that stands out to me where I'm looking at it and I'm like, that is fucking badass. That is cool. Is the designs of the alien tech, the designs of the alien hybrid suits. It's real. There's real suits, people walking around with suits on. It's and it looks great. Look at this shot right here, chat. Look at this. Look at this. Are you fucking kidding me right now? This is fucking amazing. This is fucking amazing. That when I watch, when I watch the fucking Disney Star Wars trilogy, not one thing that I say watching that is a fucking amazing. Wow, look at that. Never did that.
That hallway is just like a big condom with styrofoam rings on it. It's so. See,
big condom with styrofoam rings, but it looks fucking amazing.
It's liquid latex just stretched out over styrofoam, and
that's what I love about this trilogy. You took the budget that you were given and you made something special and unique out of it, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Look at this.
I mean that was really that was an education for me of and I think the experience on that one was I was really trying to do something different on Beyond with latex as a set dressing element, and some of it successful and some of it I was frustrated with, and I ended up just being like, what works every time? Styrofoam.
Yeah, it works.
You do styrofoam and liquid latex.
That's
you
it.
Liquid latex and you make everything wet. It definitely always so.
The suits are insane. There you go. The suits are insane. I'm obsessed. That's what Sophia's saying right here.
Oh, thank you.
Phat says Beyond Skyline had some great action. That fight at the end with Frank, Eco, and Yayan versus the aliens was great. And really quick,
that was a lot of work.
Ranjit You know, we were just talking about that yesterday on my live stream yesterday, how sometimes why, maybe 60-70% of the time, why Hollywood doesn't focus on fight choreography and focus on the filming of the action. Why? Because, like you just said, it takes a long time. You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of
Yeah.
times they're just like, just fucking finish it. Just fine. It looks fine. Let's move on, right?
No,
But
you know what?
if you take time with it, like the fight scenes in your movie, especially Skylines, the fight scenes, if you take time with it like you did, it looks great. It looks great. It's convincing. It's badass. It's fun. But majority of the time, you know, what I mean is majority of the Hollywood action mainstream.
I think the Hollywood action mainstream guys and the time they take, I think it's all there. I think the pressure. This is my from the outside, because I know that the people that work on it are the best. They're so good, and the stuff that they're delivering when you see, some of their reels of what they're doing for those fights.
Yeah,
so amazing. But the pressure they're getting is from the execs in the edit bay saying it looks fake, it looks phony, because these people, like, they have limited imaginations and they don't like seeing people square up. They just want to see like this like commotion of blurs.
Yeah.
And they don't care about the thing I hate, in that you'll see I would even, there's some of it in Beyond Skyline, because the editor is a little bit more looser with this than I am. It was one of the things that we would fight about, but I love him. It's Sean Albertson. He was a great mentor for me, because this guy worked with Sylvester Stallone. He did Rocky Balboa. He did Rambo 4. He did Expendables 3. He knows his action. But I would still fight back. Like, I don't like time displacement. I don't like if someone is like locked in a fight here, I don't like cutting to them and they're out of that lock. And they do that a lot in like Hollywood movies, where like a guy will be like pinned on the ground and he'll like growl, and then they're just standing. And it's like within 2 cuts, like, I like the cause and effect. I want to see all that stuff clean. And there's even stuff that I cheat on that I'm like mad that I have to cheat on. Like, there's like a cut in Frank and Nico's fight where Frank headbutts him, and when we cut to the other side, he headbutted him with the other hand. And I see it every time. But it's a good cut. Like, you're never going to notice it until I mention it. But I was like, this.
Yeah, I didn't notice. Yeah.
I'm like, it bothers me every time I see it.
But it's important. It's important.
I do think that they actually do great work, and I do think it is more on the onus of people like being insecure on more of the executive level, that they're insecure, and that they for some reason they think like not cutting and like seeing what's happening means that it's like cheap. And look, I get some of it. I get, like, if you see the guy doing that waiting for the hit dance in the background, I get how that can pull some people out of the movie. I understand, but there has to be, a fine line, but before, like, you have to deliver to your core audience.
Yes.
And so, with like a big Marvel movie, when they do that fight choreography stuff, their core audience is not action fans. Their core audience is just the wow factor for this mass audience. Where a movie where we have a much smaller budget and we're more niche, is like, I'm really trying to get the action fans to be super excited about it, because they're going to champion it and be the loudest for it and push it and make the movie a success. So I get why they are those different things. And I'm kind of like a little hopeful, or not a little. I'm hopeful for an evolution in that, because, like, we've seen obviously with the Matrix movies and with the John Wick movies, is that you can do both. You can have really great martial arts at the highest level, very slick, and have it not look phony or take people out of the movie. So I don't know, but I do think that they're doing great work. It's just aesthetics that are crushing it, and that was obviously a huge movement. There's some movies that I like really, really enjoy from like 15 years ago that I wish they could recut the action for, because of that crazy shaky cam thing that really took over. And you're like, man, like Quantum of Solace is one that like I actually think it's a pretty good movie, but the edit is just it's
atrocious.
Bonkers. It's especially after Casino Royale, which is such a classic edit. It's so beautiful. Like the dolly shot is hitting right when you need it. The crane is giving you the perspective. It still has all the visceral power. It's such a great mix of all of it. And then that one, it was just like, you guys have amazing photography here. That fucking car is going off the side of a road. Why is it in like a an 80 millimeter lens? I can't see it. So I don't know. Some of those
you're preaching.
I still like those movies, but there was that press to kind of like go with this avant-garde approach, and I like you said on Skylines, it also depends on the DP you're working with. Is that Christopher Probst on Beyond Skyline was a really great handheld operator. He came up on TV and just like has a camera on his shoulder all the time, and he kind of really taught me a lot about blocking and making the camera as part of a character on it. And my DP on the third one was not a handheld operator, great dolly operator. And so I kind of had to adjust my thinking because I was doing the handheld. I was like, oh, I'm not playing to his strengths. And then I'm doing the dolly. I'm like, this guy's unbelievable. So the movie is a much smoother kind of like there's not that much handheld overall in the whole thing. It's a lot of dolly. It's a lot of steady cam. It's even less steady cam than Beyond Skyline. And it to me, what I liked about it was that kind of evolution because it kind of fit each movie, Beyond is like a grittier kind of more like in the mud movie, and Beyond is a little slicker and it's a little sleeker. And even with the different fight choreography styles, you have Iko and Yayan doing the choreography for Beyond. It's much more brutal and high impact and like cutting someone's thigh until it's Swiss cheese. And then you have Real Deal Stunts did the choreography in the third one, and they're much more like German precision, kind of like perfection artists. Everything is much more Hong Kong kind of. They want it to be a much more like splash page beautiful. So there's those different contrasts. I think is what make the when you're watching all three, it'd be an evolution, and that we're not just like regurgitating the things that we did before.
No, copy that. I totally agree with you. But like that's another thing I like about this trilogy is that because of the way it panned out, which is, at first I was scared in 2010. I was like, no, don't end this way. But now that we have the second one and the third one, again, you could see, like you just said, you could see the evolution of the series, right? But what I like about the series is that each movie is its own flavor. You know what I mean? Like each, and then there's fans of the trilogy, they all have their favorite. You know what I mean? Even they like all three, but they all have their favorite one out of the trilogy because, and I think that's great. It keeps things fresh. Why do you want the same fucking movie 3 times?
No,
you know what I mean?
No, and that was sort of like I had to do a big bold bet for the third movie because it was the only way it was going to get made. And so that was sort of like, to do something that was like put the chips into the center and be like, we're going to do this, alien starship trooper on an alien planet thing. It was so crazy that I thought it would work. Whereas if I tried to do Beyond Skyline 2, where they're like figuring things out post the end of the last one, I just think it would have died on the vine. And so the fun thing about it though now is that there's kind of a possibility of merging those two into like kind of the Fast Five version of what a Skyline movie could be if we were to do another one, where you can kind of bring the two casts sort of together.
Shit. I'd be so down. That'd be even more exciting.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of where it's like, I wasn't sure. Again, I'm never sure if I want to actually put in a teaser for another movie and whether or not how much is too much. They started like the marketing was like the third and final installment of the Skyline trilogy. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to stop. People want to make another one.
For now.
they kind of say the final just to make it feel like it's an event. Sorry, guys. That's what they're always going to say. I'm going to tell you, Rise of Skywalker is not the final installment in the Skywalker series.
No, just kidding.
Spoiler.
I'm kidding.
I don't think that's going to be the last one. I think we'll all die before the last Skywalker movie is made. But not to compare ourselves to Star Wars. But yeah, it was just sort of like, I started working on that. So I'm actually working on that script right now, and it's
shit,
particularly crazy again.
I'm tingling. I'm getting pumped.
It's a little bit. It is a little bit more like Beyond Skyline, meets Skylines. But what I think is really fun about it is because of how crazy things happen in Skylines is that I really get to kind of reset the table and introduce some new villains and do things differently. So it's still exciting for me because I feel like each movie I get to make something completely different.
They're getting excited. Look at that. They're getting excited for another movie. There you go. Reggie asks, would you want to do anything besides sci-fi? We talked about that earlier a little bit.
Yeah.
You might branch into horror, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different there's a lot of projects I'm developing right now, and a couple are more just straight horror and different flavors of that, like some supernatural, some biological, and then there's also like a straight actioner, like sort of like Hitman's Bodyguard sort of thing, like just something that's just the man with the gun sort of movies, because a John Wick's, if you will. Yeah. And then but the real kind of and there's another one that is that we kind of pitch as like the Blade meets the Raid, which is
I'm sold. Can I pre-order the ticket? Can I pre-order the ticket now?
That's sort
of you just said Blade meets Raid. What is happening? My mind is blown.
I know. It sells itself, and that's sort of like a supernatural take on the Raid, where you're in a building with a bunch of bad guys that then adds a creature element to it.
I've already pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the ticket. I pre-ordered the 4K release.
that one seems like it could actually happen because it's very sort of contained. But still, it would be balls to the wall action and very much sort of on brand for the stuff that I do. And then the big baby, like my baby, the one that I've been trying to make since 2015 is The Last Savage, and that would be something I'd hopefully get to go back to Indonesia to shoot. Preferably with Iko and Yayan and a couple other people. You go. And that's a post-apocalyptic martial arts gladiator type of movie. That Derek Kolstad from the John Wick films did a rewrite with me on, and it's still to me that's this is
something that's coming.
No, it's something I'm still trying to get money for because people keep reading it and they say, that's crazy. So it's just the thing that is the closest to my heart. And that if I'm any movie I'll ever make, if it's not that one, I'll still be talking about that one whenever I get a chance.
So Hollywood and filmmakers out there right now, executives, people with the suits and all that shit. Did you hear what he just said? Okay, Iko, Yayan, that's right, in a post-apocalyptic gladiator movie.
Well, I put
what else do you need? Greenlight this shit, please. Money. You like making money, don't you? Don't you like making money? Yeah. Greenlight this. Chat. Spread the word. Movie Dojo Army. Spread the word. All right. Hashtag. We gonna make this happen. All right.
Thank you.
Spread the word. And my mind is blown. You're blowing my mind more as the stream is going on. But just to rewind a little bit, Finkster says The Last Savage sounds amazing. Work on it, baby. But he said earlier. Blade meets the Raid. Take every goddamn cent of my money. Yeah. The Last Savage. Hashtag The Last Savage. Get it out there. Save The Last Savage. Okay. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Bo's making calls right now. Bo is making calls. All right, this needs to happen. There should be no resistance. Okay, this is gold. Share this stream. Take the clip.
I haven't said the Blade Meets the Raid pitch to anyone before, so that's funny that you guys like that. I figured you would. Yeah.
Take the clip of this stream. Put it, Liam. Share it out there. Hey, spread the word. The stream is yours.
Thank you.
Do whatever you want with it.
Thank you.
But yeah, this needs to happen, people. Okay, what's wrong with you guys? You want to make money? You want to make money or not? All right, make all these projects happen pronto. All right. Here we go. Sexy Sumo says, "Can I donate my children to make these movies happen?"
How much are they on the open market? I haven't really checked.
Oh my God! Here we go. This is how we do it. Tell brother Liam to reach out to me. We can make this happen, son. What? We gonna make it happen. We gonna make it happen. That's right. Ranjit Marwa.
I love it.
Yes. That's it. Reaching out. That's how we do. We're going to collab. The badasses are going to combine. Oh, this is fun. I'm so pumped right now. I'm ready to run out on the front lines for you right now. All right, so back to Beyond Skyline. What made you kind of tweet me? And that's how we kind of first spoke a long time ago.
Well, yeah, so we were, especially Matthew and I, we were so excited about the movie because we had Frank, which we knew was the definite like change of pace. And then when we went over to scout in Indonesia, the first night we met with Mike Willon at Infinite Studios, and they were like, "Hey, do you think about the Raid guys for those other roles?" And we were like, we didn't really think that was possible. So we flew over to Jakarta and were able to lock them in. It was actually because an earlier version of The Night Comes for Us didn't happen. That ended up working out for us, and they had like these 2 months open to do the movie with us, which was amazing. So we were really excited. We felt like we had something special, but again, we have this long post period where we're like, I had a trailer for that thing, a teaser trailer that was amazing in like the fall of 2015, and I like just wanted to release it because I wanted to get this movie out, and so it ends up coming out like the trailer's out actually 2 years after that. And we're, really excited about finally getting to see people's reactions to it. And yeah, when I saw your reaction, it's a very funny video. And it was definitely like, you're like, oh, okay. Eco. Yeah, oh, that's badass. All right. And so we shared that with each other, and we were like, yeah, Phat Samurai loves it. It was definitely made the rounds for all the producers that it was like, finally, getting to see the people that we had made the movie for, see it and appreciate it. Because
that trailer blew my mind. I was like, what is happening? Because that was the last thing I was expecting for a Skyline sequel.
Exactly.
I was like, whoa.
That was, and we'd been sitting on it for so long. We were just like chomping at the bit,
Yeah. Well, that was awesome. You reaching out to me. I was like, hey, they like the reaction. That's great. All right, let's briefly talk about Skyline because I want to get to Beyond Skyline.
Yeah.
Because I want to get to Skyline. So just brief plot synopsis for chat.
Okay, so Beyond Skyline takes place the same night as Skylines, where we meet Detective Mark Corley. He's bailing his son Trent out from jail after yet another street fight. He gives him a good life lesson talking to. Unfortunately, his car won't start, so they go down to take the subway home. And the power goes out, and basically right about then the world starts ending. The invasion happens, and we slowly kind of start to see. Well, it's not really slow at all, actually, but we start to learn everything that's happening upstairs. And he meets up with another group of survivors. They try to make it out of the city to no avail. They get abducted up onto the ship. Where they all get separated, and Mark runs into the survivors of Skyline, Jared and Elaine. Elaine is now showing pregnant. What's happened to her from the aliens is hypergrowth, the baby, and Mark delivers baby Rose with Jared. They make a deal to rescue his son and get Rose off the ship. Fortunately, Trent's brain gets ripped out of his body right in front of his father's face. Jared is successful in crashing the ship, but it costs his life. and they land in Southeast Asia. So from there, they all get off of the ship and they run into a group of resistance survivors scavenging for food, played by Iko Uwais and Pamela Chi, which bring us back to this amazing temple that we shot in Jakarta, where we meet this basically a drug smuggling group that was using these underground layer to make drugs and to smuggle them, is now basically the humanity's last hope, because they have guns and they have lab equipment, which all builds to, a big final stand between the aliens that are coming. They want to kill this little girl Rose because she's got these powers that are a potential threat to them, and everybody bands together to kind of save her and eventually take the aliens out. Mark's son Trent is now in an alien, and he ends up having a climactic duel with our bad alien in a kaiju battle in the temples. Everybody kind of has their moment. Poor Yayan is ripped apart, but we never saw him die. And at the end, we flash forward into the future to see the grown-up Rose, played by Lindsay Morgan, now sort of leading the human resistance into a climactic battle with the harvesters in space.
Yes, beautiful. So now, this was my reaction. We're watching, me and my wife, Lady Fat Blood. We're watching the movie, and we're having fun with it. And all of a sudden, when it got to the aliens, the harvesters, they got inside. They got inside the temple a little bit. They kind of broke in a little, and so they're defending themselves down there. Excuse me. And you got one of the harvester aliens trying to fight with Iko. When the harvester alien did a spinning roundhouse kick on Iko, me and my wife's reaction was like, wait, did that just happen? Wait, rewind this. Wait a minute. Did the alien... All right, we're on board. We're on board even more.
We kind of sneak it in there too. It doesn't it's not like it stops and calls a ton of attention. You're like, wait, did that just happen?
Yeah. I was just like, when you watch Predators and you have the duel scene with the Yakuza guy and the Predator all of a sudden out of nowhere does some stupid phony martial arts pose, and it made me cringe in the theater. Even though I'm a diehard Predator fan, I didn't cringe with the roundhouse kick from the harvester. I was just like, okay, we're on board even more now. This is great.
He's got frog legs. He's got frog legs. He's got,
He's combat. They're combat. They're soldiers. Okay, the aliens take the brains out, harvest it, and make soldiers and minions and pilots. We forgot to mention that.
It's very funny. But it's very funny that you say that, because I think I had the similar reaction to Predators, but it's like, that's the difference between being like the legacy of this perfect first movie and us kind of being a little bit more madcap. You can get away with that stuff.
Right.
But there was a version where the animators, as a joke, they sent me a daily where that Predator was wearing a tutu. And when he turned around, the tutu flew up as he did the kick. So that exists somewhere in the world, where the pilot is wearing a tutu.
Wow, that's hilarious. Oh, but yeah, we were even on board with the movie after
there's a cut moment, and because we had this amazing performer who did all those. His name was Anise, and he is the guy who plays like Rinsler in Tron Legacy. He's like one of the Ninja Turtles. He's just this amazing physical actor. And we actually had the alien doing a flip over Iko at the end battle. And that was another one of those things that Chad Albertson was like, how can it just suddenly do a flip? They look like they're falling in every other shot, and now it can do a flip. And I was like, I don't know. It looks cool.
Because it looks cool. There you go.
We cut around it, and one of my rare moments of actually having some restraint. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of a lot of fun, the third act finale, I was like, it got more exciting. So if only we filmed ourselves watching the movie, it would have been great video to upload, because we got more excited afterwards. Because first everybody's, fuck it, we're getting invaded here. We gonna protect the temple. We got the little girl here. Let's go ahead and do this. So we got gunfire. Frank Grillo's getting in on the action. We got bazooka shooting, gun spraying. Iko's doing all this crazy martial arts stuff just
Yes.
slitting throats. You want to see Eco slit an alien's throat? This is the movie for you. You want to see Mad Dog? That's right, Yan Yan earlier in the movie use a flamethrower on an alien. This is the movie for you. Okay, so yeah, so this is all happening. We're having fun, badassity, and like here, our boy here. Before he gets kind of messed up, look at this action. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, it's just coming up, fucking aliens up. Like, this is fantastic, right?
That was great about having them on the stilts with Yayan, because they're just, it's like 8 foot tall to 5 foot tall. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So we're all just having a blast. Martial arts, knife cutting, gun shooting, everywhere, just having a blast. And then out of nowhere, giant alien mech suit comes walking out, and they're all stopping, and they're all looking up like, we were like, oh God. And then there was like this pause, right? And a little small part of me and Lady Fat Blood, we were like, please, somehow, let's have Frank Grillo's son Trent show up and attack this. And it happened. Chat, we had Jaeger Kaiju battle, alien on alien throwdown, on top of all the other badassity action that we had in this movie. This happens, and then we lost it. It was like, all of a sudden during the fight, oh, we got German suplex, son. He grabbed him. Blah, German suplex. We were like, oh my God, we were losing it. We were like, did that just happen? That just happened. Okay. All right, we're buying the Blu-ray. We're buying the Blu-ray when it comes out. He just did a German suplex. Okay? Yeah, just having a lot of fun. And then, of course, fast forward in the future, the little girl, the hybrid, she's all grown up, grows. And it ends with, let's take the fight to them. And, of course, Trent's still there, my favorite character in the series. He's still there. But he's in alien form, because he's a hybrid. He's a hybrid. And let's take it to them. And when that happened, the first thing I thought of was, actually, I'll save that to the end.
Okay.
Well, after Skylines. But it's a similar, I had a similar, well, I'll get to it later. To it later. But it's about Independence Day, but I'll get to it later. But I was like, yeah, that's how you end it. Yes, that adrenaline rush. That's how you end it, right? Now I'm even more stoked. If even if it ended there and we didn't get a third one, I still would have been like, that was fucking cool, right? Let's take the fight to them.
Yeah, I mean, that was like it was like that again. That was I kind of didn't think there was going to be a third, and I thought it was just it kind of finished the story and it gave us a place where we could go, but it didn't feel like it was over relying on any other kind of part to it. But it was funny when you said the kaiju thing. It reminded me there was this little part that I shot where it cut to Trent because he gets his eyes freed, and then Mark gets ripped out of the hovercraft and onto the ground and into the battle. And we had this other little shot that was just sort of a Batman shot where Trent like walked into a low angle and like looked around, and then all of a sudden he looked over his shoulder and it racked two of the big kaiju, the tank.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was again one of those things like if you just take it out, the movie goes faster. But it did kind of set up that like, oh, that's gonna happen. And then when you took it out, it was a bigger surprise that like, oh my God, it's just there's a big
he just
kaiju battle happened.
Yeah, he sucker punched him from the side, and then we had German.
But suplex. I'm glad that you immediately were like, I hope he gets in there and does it. Yeah, there was literally the German suplex was in the script. I remember like different. I just was like, I want to see it suplex it into a temple, and I remember like different people would read it like there was like an agent at CIA that was like. A German suplex, huh?
Yeah,
and I was like, yep, that's happening.
That's right, baby.
There's a couple of other writers that were like, well, I really want to see that suplex. So it was like no pressure. And I actually was one of the things I wanted the suplex to go into the temple and completely destroy everything.
Right.
And that was going to be a too big problem because one of the expense of all that destruction.
Right.
And then two, we kind of were part of the agreement, even with the Indonesian and Yogyakarta officials was because it's a World UNESCO site, is that like we wouldn't mess up the temples too bad. So it ended up being a very elegant solution to have it's got to do the suplex through the frame and not exactly see how much it's destroyed. So there's we still at the very end the temples are pretty much still standing.
Nice.
So we try to make everybody happy.
But yeah, it was a blast. We had a lot of fun with it. You know, we had to refill our popcorn and get some more. But yeah, roundhouse kick, alien roundhouse kick, Jaeger kaiju German suplex. I mean, what more do you want?
I don't know.
What more do you want?
Know.
Did you watch Beyond Skyline and was like, Citizen Kane is better? Like what? That's why there's different genres out there. You fucking idiot. There's different genres out there.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Do you want action? Do you want a blast fest? Do you want excitement? Do you want fun? Do you want to have a good time? Then this is for you. But don't go in there and critique it and being all. Go watch your fucking Citizen Kane. Have fun with that. You know? Sorry. Fat Samurai Guy rants sometimes. That happens on the channel.
I love it.
I'm just saying, there's different genres for different people. You know what I mean? But now, when it was announced, Skylines was coming out, I was like, hell yeah! We're getting a third one. All right. Same actress. It was Lindsay Morgan, right?
That's right.
Yeah, she was great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
she was great.
That's why I feel the best about everything is that it was just like so many weird situations that actually got her in the movie. Like I said, her character wasn't even in the original cut of Beyond Skyline. And if I had cast a different little girl that didn't look like Lindsay, would that have even happened? You know, there's like, the different kind of things you go back and you think about. And it's just really exciting to kind of find someone who's, on the come up and that you believe in and that they kind of deliver everything that you hope they would. And it's definitely one of the more rewarding parts, I'd say, of the third movie. It was that like, I really believe that this girl deserved to be, or this woman deserved to be, an action star. And I think she proved that she can, she's the goods.
Yes. Great job, Lindsay. If you're watching, great job. Congratulations on your success. But it's it's important though. Even for this genre that we love and we're talking about right now, it's still important that you have a great lead, a likable lead, a lead the audience can relate to, and she was that, and she was a good actress too in the movie. Like she was really good, and she was good with the action too. But it's just it's important because you could have all the special effects in the world, you can have all the fighting in the world, but if you have a lead that's horrible and you can't this is the worst acting I've ever seen, or not even that, she's not convincing on screen, or he is not convincing on screen.
She's so
that could kind of ruin it. That could kind of ruin the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was what I lucked out with both movies, with Frank and with Lindsay, and it was one of the reasons why I cast Lindsay, is because I felt like she reminded me of him in a way, like that they have this super authentic presence, and that they like really, really commit no matter what. And that was like what I said from Warrior. I was like, oh, I'd love to see that guy, that authentic like cop that you're be in this movie. And I totally could see like Lindsay like at Frank's house, like, as his daughter, like, working on a motorcycle engine or something. Like they just kind of like, they fit together. So that was sort of why, I wanted her for that role and beyond. And then what I really appreciated from her working with her in Skylines was like we'd be doing the scenes where she's like entranced and she's on a green screen and she's got to walk and be all there. And like, it's just super weird sci-fi mumbo jumbo that I have to like explain to her. And I always like kind of step out of my body and try to imagine being a person listening to me being like, so you're going to blast this spinning blue light with your red light, and it's going to turn into a purple light, and then your eyes are going to go blue, and now you're going to be bad. And she's just like, got it. It does like exactly what you say, and does it really, really serious and intense, and holds all those features, and then jumps off of the platform onto the pads. And I'd be like, it's just it's it's actually like you're saying, it's incredibly rare to get people that are going to commit that hard to something
Yeah.
that, like, is this, it's not, it's taking itself seriously, but we're having fun with it. It's this weird in between tone, and
Right.
that can be really like insecure for an actor, because they don't want to sit there and like overcommit and feel like they're taking it too serious for the material. So trying to find that sweet spot is always
Yeah.
tricky. And
Yeah.
and I think she did a great job at that. Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. And another thing that I like about her character is that, she wasn't just set up to be this perfect thing. Like, she made mistakes.
Yes.
She failed in some aspects.
Yeah.
And you can relate, and you could see that, her failure kind of torture her. She's a tortured character. We can all get on board with characters like that, not characters that are, perfect in every way.
No, I mean, and that was sort of
it's good that I like that about her character.
I didn't want her to be overpowered, and I didn't want the power to just be like something that could get her out of every situation. So that was part of the design, that like, her power is just like strength for you and I, like you'll be pretty good in the first like 2 minutes of a fight, but after 10 minutes of fighting, you're not going to be that great. And so I was like, I just wanted her to, like, after, when she gets charged up, if you watch the movie and you watch it just for this, it's pretty consistent. Like, after she gets some blood or she gets charged up, like, she kicks ass, and then as it goes on, she gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and it cannot do it. Yeah. And I just thought that was sort of like one of those things that always kind of I can never really gauge on some of the superhero movies, where it just seems like there's always an endless tank. And even when you say they're beat, they're just like, they're not beat anymore. So it was something I was trying to be, and she did such a good job physically, kind of like, if it was a video game, she's got like her power bar, and you can kind of like see it above, like, oh, she's in the red, danger. So yeah, that I like that. I like that.
Skyline video game coming, confirmed right now from Liam.
Oh, man,
I'm kidding.
That'd be great.
Video game and Funko Pops.
Yeah, I'd love to do like a fighting game would be great. Just grab our characters and just put them into Mortal Kombat.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
But she was great, and the character was great. And like I said, like her failing and being tortured and trying to deal and finding her true self it's great. It's relatable. You know what I mean? And she was really good in the film. She was really, really good. So, again, without spoilers, because I want everybody to watch this who hasn't seen it yet, a brief plot synopsis, sir.
Yeah, my other ones I realize have not been very brief, but you can read the log line. But so it picks up right where the last movie left off, but we get sort of a recap narration from the great James Cosmo over a campfire. And he's kind of filling you in from this complicated mythology of what makes Rose Rose and what makes her this kind of special, alien hybrid.
Yeah.
As she leads the human resistance, which is now made up of both kind of pilots and humans, onto this climactic battle against the harvesters. She ends up having to make a really impossible decision. She hesitates in a key moment and ends up having to kill an entire ship, which would be like thousands and thousands of soldiers, in order to take out the harvester's big battle weapon, Death Star type of deal. So then we catch up with her 5 years later. She's sort of been disgraced, on the run. She's kind of working on her own to try to cure the advanced aging that her blood condition gives her. And the resistance forces led by Leon are out there kind of trying to hunt her down, because they have a new mission for her. So they end up catching up with her when she's visiting the beautiful Rona Mitra in her lab, Dr. Mal, where we do reveal that Yayan's chief character, Juana, is actually survived.
He survived.
And he has alien appendages that have been put on him. And so he's sort of a guinea pig that she's using to figure out a cure for this strange new virus that's turning all of the good aliens back to their original bad state. So Lindsay's then brought back into the resistance, and she's given the download on this crazy suicide mission to go to Cobalt 1 and retrieve this power source that's going to be able to reverse this pandemic and save all of the pilots on Earth and save all the humans, because if the pilots go bad, the humans will all get destroyed as well. So it's basically this huge cockamamie mission to get us to go to the alien world, which then, of course, everything there is not what we see, what it seems. And we start to run into some new variations of creatures that we've never seen before. And some of the different things that have been ailing Rose throughout the movie and kind of telepathically giving her that moment of hesitancy, dampering her powers, are all kind of revealed in the second half of the movie. It also stars Alexander Siddig as General Radford, who's sort of our the guy who puts together this whole mission. You might know him from Deep Space Nine and Doomsday and Syriana. And he was a lot of fun to work with. Definitely made my sci-fi gobbledygook sound way better than it is. And then on the team, I mentioned Leon, who's played by Jonathan Howard. He's in Godzilla, King of Monsters, and Thor: The Dark World. But we've never really seen him as an action lead. And he put on some muscle for this. And he's actually quite a good Thai boxer and does judo. And so he was very, very good with the choreo. He has a couple of really cool fight scenes. And my ringer of martial arts mayhem is the great Daniel Bernhardt.
Yes.
Who, you guys would know, took over for Jean-Claude Van Damme in the Bloodsport series. He's worked with the 8711 guys on
he's fantastic.
Pretty much all of their movies. Even John Wick, the sequels, he's playing different guys in like helmets and stuff. He's a character in the first movie, but he came back to play different characters for Keanu to beat the crap out of in the sequel.
And also, props to his success with helping to create Nobody, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, which is where I met him.
Bob.
I met him in Berlin. So we started prepping for Skylines in the fall of 2018, and we were over in Belgium prepping it in early 2019. And we already wanted Daniel, we already sent him the offer. But I wanted to meet him and the Real Deal Stunt guys. They were shooting a proof of concept for Nobody at a stage in Berlin. So we're in Belgium. So again, it was similar to how we just flew to Jakarta to get Iko and Yayan. It was okay, these guys are, and Odenkirk was there. We're let's get on the train, Matthew Childs and I, and let's go to Berlin. So, it's only a 5-hour ride. You just can drink beer and stare out the window. Yeah. And
sounds
then,
like fun.
So then we go to the stage and Daniel is he's much bigger than you think. He's very every inch of a 6'3", 200 plus pound muscly guy. And you're like, okay, this definitely changes the group dynamic. He's a big guy. And he's got such a great look and he knows what he's doing. And so we watched him and all the Real Deal Stunt guys, including Cha Li, who plays Z in our movie, and Jean, who is our second unit director, and Fong, who played the matriarch. All those guys were there, and they were kind of doing, they were getting this scene where they brought Bob in, and he was getting interrogated and getting the shit beat out of him, so that was really cool to see that in early 2019. Wow, I wonder if this thing's ever going to happen. And all the hard work that they put in. I mean, Bob put in years of training for it with Daniel, and he would train with him almost every day. And it's just really, really inspiring to see something like that where everybody's bought in, like you're saying, put in the time, and really made something that everyone's responded to.
Yeah. That's awesome. You were out there while they were making the movie.
It was I wonder if that's ever going to happen. And then
I know, right?
And I guess it did. It kind of died for a second after that, and it didn't look and then boom, it was back up.
Yeah.
And
it was fantastic. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that movie. I would love to have Daniel on a future episode.
Oh yeah, he would love to be on.
I would love to have him as a guest because I've been a fan of that guy for years.
I'll give you his email. He'll be
awesome!
On.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Director says, how long did the actors learn the choreography prior for to shooting? Excuse me.
Like zero time. It was like I was saying on these movies, like there's so little prep, and we would never have been able to pull it off if we didn't cast talented physical performers as actors. Lindsay is a very talented athlete. She can pick that stuff up. We had a great double for her as well, because we were shooting main unit on her face and second unit on her back. It was such a tight schedule.
Yeah.
With Jonathan Howard, like, he does this thing where he runs through this battle and he shoots a bunch of aliens and kicks them in the face and does all that. And it was like he'd rehearsed it for like a day. It really was. And then to have our big martial arts fight at the end with Daniel Bernhardt and Cha Li, they're just so goddamn talented. They choreographed that like 2 days before, and even the 2 days before, I think it was mainly Fong and Cha were doing the choreo, and then Daniel would be like, well, this is what I would do. And they can just do it,
Boom, boom, boom.
So,
they're professionals.
So it's like, how long did it take? It's like, it's a little bit like the Picasso question, where it's like, it only took them 15 minutes, but we hired the people that have been doing it for 30 years. So, if you just try to do that with, like a normal actor who without that experience, it would never work. But we definitely, that was the whole reason why I wanted him on the movie, because one, I loved that he was kind of like, like genre fans and action fans, they all like him, but he's kind of under the radar because that's the role. Like, you're like, okay, this guy's just like Captain America, no big deal. And then when he kind of starts, we kind of let him off the chain in the second half of the movie, and you're like, this guy's a fucking Terminator. I wasn't quite aware. It ends up being sort of a little bit more fun.
Yeah, nice. Samuel here says he liked the third movie a lot. It had that pitch blackish feel. That's pretty cool. All right.
I mean, even the poster, I was like, it's pretty much Chronicles of Riddick is the pose that she's doing. I mean, that was like totally, on purpose. I love those movies. I love that trilogy.
Yeah, this poster's great. This is a great poster right here. Yeah.
Oh no, the one you have as the banner behind us here. That one. That one's very Vin Diesel pose.
But going back to what I was saying before, how what I really like about this trilogy is that each one is a different flavor, right? It's not just the same rehash over and over and over again, and it keeps things fresh and exciting. What I liked about this was, as soon as they landed on that planet, and they're doing this is a totally different movie now. Like, this is like stealth ops, black ops. We're here for a mission. We're here to get in and get out. And I was like, it was a totally different feel, and I loved it, man. Like, when they got down there, like, look, this is a great shot too, by the way. I love her attack gauntlet. But this is my shit, man. Like, this is my shit. I love creature features, man. Like, this, I can watch this stuff all day. Like, I'm sorry, I'm looking at me. I'm so excited. I'm pounding on the desk over here. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, but this is my shit. Fans of creature features, action, alien, horror. This, if you guys need to check this movie out. This, I was all in when they arrived on that planet. I was all in, and we had some really cool action while they were there. And what was the idea for the some of the combat weapons, like those blades, those sabers? Those are pretty badass that they pulled out. What was the idea?
It was sort of like the way that the power claw in the second movie, when Frank takes it out and then he shoots it up, that it's straight out there. I was like, okay, what if the humans took that tech and were using it in different ways, that you'd have a more portable knife that you could then turn into a bigger sword. The prop masters, like the guy, their first version of it was like the size of her leg. And it was like one of these things where we couldn't get the sword right. And I almost cut him because I was like, this is just not working. It was so like anime that she just took these swords out. And I was like, she's like, like 120-pound person. She can't have like, 7-foot swords come out. So we even just like that day we're still kind of chiseling them down and
Yeah.
getting the final look. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was badass.
You know,
Whipping those sabers
we
out.
were like the actual interesting thing, like because you're just using like found props and tweaking them out with stuff, is that like
Yeah.
the plasma flamethrower, the idea was that it was going to be blue because it was like a weird alien flamethrower, but it just doesn't look right. And especially because the whole planet is so blue, it became too blue, and you wanted that contrast of the orange. But like,
Right.
it's just funny when you see it like in a different color besides orange, that it just your brain's like, oh, that's fake. And when we turned it orange, it just looked better. So we ended up kind of
Nice.
going with a little bit more of the
Yeah.
traditional thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, kind of same with the guns and the weapons, is that we tried doing sort of like blue plasma muzzle flashes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just the planet and everything was so blue that I ended up kind of being like, let's just go with the classic look. It ends up feeling better and giving us more contrast in the colors, so that it's not just blue and blue and blue and blue.
Yeah. And shout out, again, my favorite character in the series, Trent. Shout out to Trent, Trent character.
I just love that we have a man in suit character poster. That's Jeremy
Yes.
Fitzgerald, who is the bearded man that you see in the both of the blooper reels on Beyond Skyline. And
Yeah,
and
I forgot to mention that earlier. The bloopers are hilarious.
Yeah, so that was the holdover that we knew we had to honor, and yeah.
Is that going to be a thing for any future projects? You're going to keep that going?
It has to be. I think it has to be the right thing. It has to be the right tone.
Yeah.
I think if it was something slightly more serious than it is, but it's funny. When people, if someone says they don't like it, I'm just generally like, well, we're not going to be friends. Like if you don't like it on this movie, because I think people forget that Predator ends with like kind of a curtain call, like jokey fucking thing where everybody looks into the camera and laughs.
Yeah.
And it was like that. I think if you did that in a movie nowadays, people would be like, what is that? Like those guys are all dead. You've ruined the illusion of their death. How are they bad? And it's like,
how dare you?
How dare you? I mean, it straight up is kind of like a TGIF sitcom sort of thing at the end.
It is.
But I've always loved it, and I think that is part of why some of those characters are iconic, because they do come back for that curtain call.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was sort of the original thing that I was like, oh, Predator did it, and it's obviously Jackie Chan's, the guy who really made it the staple. Mm-hmm. And it was just because when we started cutting the blooper reel together for Beyond, it was so good that we were like, this is too good to just waste on like a special feature, especially nowadays where, unfortunately the Blu-rays are kind of becoming a novelty, and most people have seen Beyond Skyline on Netflix. And so the fact that the blooper reel is on there, and then the other positive of it is Netflix doesn't minimize it. It lets you watch the whole thing.
That's right.
So I think people need to pay attention to those things, because like if you don't have anything cool on your end on main, all those people that work so hard that deserve to have their name there, like Netflix is just going to shrink that down and tell people to go watch the next Alien Invasion movie. So the fact that we've added those endings there, it's pretty cool, because I've watched both movies on Netflix recently while working on the fourth, that like it plays that whole thing, and everybody gets their their kind of curtain call.
Well, I always loved blooper reel. It's just too much fun, and it was funny for this movie too. I think
it helps. I think it helps inform the tone to people too in a weird way. It's like
have fun, have fun.
It's like it helps people realize that this is like, we know what we're making here. We know what we're having fun, and that's really the environment that I try to. It's a lot of work to create that environment on set. To have like, because we don't have time. We're laughing, but like every blown take is like, fuck, we have to go again. But if you don't laugh at the things that are funny, and you're just gonna be stressed out asshole, like who the hell wants to go to work and do that every day?
Yeah, copy that. Oh boy. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm checking that. Don't worry, Chad. I'm not forgetting about you. We're watching here. You got The bloopers are so much fun
Oh,
from
thank
Sophia
you, Sophia.
there. There you go. All right. But yeah, speaking of Netflix, congratulations to you with the Skylines was in the top 10
Yeah,
on Netflix.
that was exciting. That was exciting.
That's
You know, I
awesome.
don't think the
So
top
congrats.
10 was there in 2018 when Beyond was on, so we didn't really
No,
know.
that was a
And
new thing they
yeah,
started, I think.
but it makes it definitely exciting, and I definitely had
Yeah,
it streaming on my iPad the whole week. like
yeah.
like one more stream is gonna make it go higher, but you can't help it. You're like I my wife was actually more militant about it for me. I'd wake up in the morning and come down and it's playing on the TV. I was like, okay, right on. Yeah, we're both lunatics.
You should have gave me a call, man. You
Yeah.
should have messaged me. Hey, Movie Doge Army.
Yeah,
Click, 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 click.
just keep it clicking. We're actually doing Saturday night. We're going to do a Twitter watch party. Lindsay's going to do one.
Oh,
With
nice.
the hashtag Sky3 Watch.
Nice. How fun is that?
Yeah,
All
that'd
right.
be great. So if you want to interact with her on Twitter, it is 7 p.m. Central Time. So I guess that is 8 p.m.
You have a link? I could share it with chat right now. I could just.
It's just going to be her us on Twitter.
Just go to her Twitter.
Just go to her Twitter, which is at
Okay.
LINZZMORGN.
Okay,
And
cool.
it's just going to be a live tweet. We tried to do
all
the Netflix party is a 50-person maximum.
Okay.
And so we were like, oh, that's not quite what we're looking for, which is obviously to get the broadest audience possible watching the movie at the same time.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure chat and Movie Doge Army will be there watching. That is awesome. Just got to spread the word. That's what we're doing here today. Spreading the word, because I was really entertained by the third film, and it was fun going back and rewatching them all in order. And, again, Skylines, you have a great lead. The story is a lot of fun. I love me some Trent. That's my homie. We hang out. We go bowling, right? And then we got badass
Cadbury cream bowling ball.
Badass action in here. Daniel Bernhardt kicking ass, taking names, triple kick action. Like, it's just a lot of fun. And I again, the visuals. I enjoy the visuals, and the design of the aliens is very good. I just really enjoy it. And overall,
it was a lot of fun doing the face of the of that alien where we open up and get to do something kind of new. And that was a little bit of a retcon, if you will, because I wanted the faces to move in the second movie, and we didn't have the money to make them move. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make it that was an armor, and inside is the real face. Yeah,
here you go, chat. The alien in the middle there, you get to see a little bit more of that alien when it debuts in the film. But yeah, it was just fun. When I got done watching it, I had a lot of fun watching it, but when I got done, I sighed. I had a big smile on my face, a good sigh, like a relief sigh, and I was just like so happy that movies like this exist.
Aww,
because
sorry,
it'll make
that's
you cry.
very sweet. Yeah,
but I just felt so happy because these are the type of movies, right? These are the type of movies where you work in 12-hour days, 6 days a week. And you just want to escape. You just want to escape the fucking social media bullshit. You want to escape the boss that's cramming down bullshit. You want to escape real life. You want to go somewhere. You want to go on an adventure with action, intrigue, martial arts fighting, characters that are fun and experience. You just want to go on an adventure sometimes. And these movies give you that escape. And that's why I enjoy them. And that's why when I got done watching Skylines, I was just like, thank God. Because you can have your fucking Citizen Kane. It exists. You can have your movies like that. You can have your high art, indie, whatever the fuck, artsy fartsy stuff. That's fine. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with liking the artsy farts. Okay? There's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it.
But at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to relax. Order, hey, friends, come over. Let's do this. Come over. We're going to have a Skyline trilogy marathon. We're going to binge watch all of it. Beer, pizza, popcorn, go. And now
I used to say that the second movie was a 3-beer movie. And I think that's just all of them are. Every act you should have a beer for each act. But I do think like it definitely like you were saying that the second and the third movie and like they're just definitely like Escape is also like it's definitely like playing towards a nostalgia that we're not quite getting from the bigger budget movies because they've kind of tossed out the suit acting and they're kind of like all of them, their biggest concern is like, how do we make this the freshest thing possible? We don't want to go back. We don't want to do anything like that. Like they want it to be the most cutting edge and all that stuff. And what I like to do on these is yes, we're using, obviously new visual effects and all of the up-to-date stuff there. But I like to use some of the old stuff. I like to use some of the things that made me fall in love with movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And kind of, find our own space with it. And I think it's like no one is quite doing exactly what we're doing. And that's what I feel the most proud of is that like we have our own niche, we have our own space.
Yes.
And it's this hybrid between sort of this, late 80s, early 90s throwback, with a stylized visual effect look. And so that's sort of what I'm proud of. And I feel like the people that are fluent in that language appreciate them.
Yes. And we, us as fans, appreciate all the hard work you and everybody else, the stunt crew, the actors. We love us some Iko and Yayan and everybody involved. We really appreciate you guys making just fun movies. You just want to have fun. That's it. It's not complicated.
No. You
just want to have fun. And Sophia here is having a Rose is my bestie, but Sophia said they're having a Skyline watch party on Saturday. There you go. So they're already having watch parties.
It's funny you say Rose is my bestie because if we do get to make a 4, that's one of the sides of Rose I want to show more of. Is just a little bit. She had to deal with so much shit in the third one. I want to see a little bit more fun for her and see her get to kind of cut loose a little bit. But yeah, it's fun revisiting these characters, which is like literally I was up till 1 a.m. last night trying to figure out how she beats someone else up.
Any chance for Iko to come back, or maybe? Who knows? Sky's the limit, right?
Yep.
Well, I like the way it ended, but you know me, I'm all for more. As long as you keep making them fun and entertaining, Liam, we will all be there to have a good time and have our popcorn ready, because that's what it's all about.
I feel like we know what we kind of are getting better at making them, and we know what we want to do, and we know what the fans want to see, and so we're going to keep kind of evolving and kind of. I feel like as the series goes on, it becomes less about the plots and these things, and it's actually be more about the characters, because now you're kind of invested in them. Like you said, you love Trent, you love Rose, you'd love to see Mark, you'd love to see Sua come, all these. So that I think we share a similar sensibility.
Yeah. Oh, and going back to, before we wrap it up soon, going back to what I meant to say about Independence Day is, in my opinion,
oh boy,
the Skyline trilogy, I might get a lot of hate for this, and that's fine. In my opinion, the Skyline trilogy succeeded in doing what the multi-billion-dollar Independence Day franchise could not.
Well, okay.
Because Independence Day Resurgence fucking sucked. And that had $5 billion. I'm just going to keep upping it, all right? Compared to the budgets that you have to work with,
sure,
they're in the billions at this point. They had $1 billion. I don't care if it's not true. They
definitely didn't have $1 billion.
But fuck it, I'm saying it. $1 billion. And
I love. Okay.
No, go ahead. Okay.
All right, I love the first Independence Day. I think there's very cool stuff in Resurgence, and I would say don't put a fork in that franchise. I mean, how long was it between? It was 96 to like 2016.
Yeah,
it's 20 years. They might finish it.
No,
there's
it's
time.
dead. It's dead. I like the first Independence Day. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't like.
I'm nostalgic for it.
I think it's like an A+ movie.
But
yes, you definitely. There's things that you would have.
They failed.
Well,
failed.
I will never say that, but
Okay, Resurgence.
you know what I really like in Resurgence? I will say I really like the Queen character. I really like a lot of the holographic stuff. Some of those visual designs were stuff that we were like, okay, that was reference points for the Shepherd in Skylines, and we were kind of trying to figure out different things. So I can say good things about that movie, and I also think that they have a big sequence in Resurgence where they're like doing a ground war on the ship, which is huge looking. But it's strange, like no one really remembers it. But it is like
the film.
They are kind of doing the take the fight to them, and a bunch of shit's happening, and there's a bunch of practical effects in it. But I
don't have an issue with this. I don't have an issue with this. The visuals are fine.
Yeah.
But when you get a guy like me, I'm the target audience, and when I'm in the theater trying to stay awake, you have failed. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. The visuals are fine. Vivica Fox, when she dies in the movie, I laughed. I laughed hysterically. Well, I was like, wow, that was terrible and hilarious.
Was she on the helipad?
Yeah. They introduced her as a nurse for 5 minutes. She tried to save someone, and then the building collapsed and she died, and I laughed hysterically. I was like, really? This is how you throw away these characters? Remember the awesome speech of Bill, from Bill, the president?
Yeah,
Pullman, right?
Yeah,
the iconic speech in the first movie. Then they tried to redo that, and he was talking to 5 people. I said, "Get the fuck out of here, man!" 5 people he tried to talk to. I was just like, "No movie. But it's okay if you enjoy it. It's okay if it has its fans. I just wanted to use it as a comparison.
I'd very much like Roland Emmerich to hire me for something, so I'm going to
I'm sorry. It's just me. It's just me talking. It's fine.
Roland, I've never said anything bad about you. Let's do Independence Day 3 together.
Roland, I like your first movie. There you go.
Look, we can save the trilogy. Hire me.
Okay, I'm for this. Okay. This I like. Okay, I'm for this.
It turns out Will Smith was on ice. He was not actually dead. If we could bring back Yayan with alien limbs.
He's an alien hostage. They had him. He's in the prison, alien prison, and Will Smith will be released in the next one.
Yeah, Will Smith. Crack him out of the ice, crack him out of the alien ice, and he's in part 3. Let's go.
Oh, let's go, Roland. You know who to call. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, brother, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in the Movie Dojo Army. Thank you guys for watching and liking and commenting. That's right. Here we go. Ranjit. Hybrid Will Smith, son. Let's get it going.
That's my pitch. 3 words.
One more before you go. Bo wants to know, are you Team Godzilla or Team Kong?
I got to say, it's very controversial either way, but I think I'd have to go Team Kong.
Oh, all right. We shall see what... You're dodging the ninja stars. All right. It's all good. Hey, it's all good.
He's just, he's got more personality. I identify with the big... mammal eyes. The reptilian eyes are harder to identify with.
You gotta check it out. You gotta check it out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Cool.
Super excited.
But again, you're always welcome, Liam, to come back. Oh, there's Lady Fat Blonde. Say hi to Liam.
Hi.
Hello.
She's busy doing things.
Absolutely.
But
I would love to come back, and I had a great time.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come back and hang out with us, talking movies. Could be talking about future projects or just to hang out, talking movies.
I love to talk movies. If you want to pick a movie and we can discuss about it for an hour, I'm always game to do that. And I just want to especially thank everybody that commented and watched live. That this is a great time. I'd love to be back.
Yes, and future Versus series. Have you seen our Versus series we got on here?
No.
Check it out when you get free. I'll send you a link. I'll send you one of the videos. But it'll be great to have you a guest on that because those are fun.
Would that be like we would fight about Independence Day Resurgence?
If you put Independence Day Resurgence against another alien invasion movie, that might be a fun Versus episode. Yeah. That might be fun.
Look, if the motivation is me possibly getting a paycheck from Roland Emmerich, I will fight to the death.
To the death. All right, it'll be fun. But don't go anywhere, Liam. Chat, thanks again for hanging out with us. Don't forget, Thursday night, the next Versus episode. That's right, Rick Myers will be there. Rob from Entertainment Talk Nation will be there. Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, and yours truly will be there. We got some kaiju on kaiju action coming this Thursday, so make sure you guys show up and hang out with us and support Liam's work. Check out the Skyline trilogy, son. Make a day of it. That's right. Pizza, popcorn, beer. Make it happen. Until then, I'll see you badasses next time. Take care, guys.